Hey, how's everyone doing? This is Oz with Oz Mechanics, and on today's video I got this 2009 Chevy Malibu right behind me. So the issue with this Chevy Malibu, customer was driving on the freeway and the belt actually ripped off. So she went ahead and replaced it, but then after that she noticed that a bunch of her lights were flickering, little stuff was coming on the instrument cluster. After that she was freaking out, so she brought it here to my shop. So how about in today's video we try to figure out this issue and give the vehicle back to the customer. Alright, so we're inside the vehicle right now, and let's just talk a little bit about what actually happened right here. So she was telling me while she was driving on the freeway, she noticed a pop, and then after that, whenever they looked in the engine compartment, they noticed that the belt was not there, but it was kind of like stringy. So she said that if it looked like the belt was hitting a bunch of stuff in there. So after they replaced that, she was driving and she would notice that the cluster would start dimming, it'll start flickering, lights would start coming out, and it just kind of sounded like it wasn't charging. So before we start looking into the engine compartment, I want to look at the codes and see what we have. All right, so we have all these codes right here. And right here, I'm not sure is whenever they removed the actual belt, if they disconnected the mass airflow sensor. We have some evap, and then we have some system voltage high, and then generator L terminal circuit, and then the TCM code. So I want to be looking at these right here because this can actually cause the actual problem right there, what she was talking about. But we're looking at system voltage high. So let's go inside, or let's go outside. Let's check out the engine compartment. Let's see if we see anything that pops up, if we see any ripped wires or anything like that. And then after that, we're going to be looking at these codes right here. And what we can do is we can turn on the vehicle, see what the voltage is, and then hopefully we can get a little better understanding on what's going on, and if these little codes right here can help us out in our diagnosis to figure out this problem. So let's go to the front of the vehicle and let's see what we find. Alright, so let's start taking off some of this part right here so we can get right there and see if we have any wires that are damaged or messed up. Alright, so this is the compartment where the belt was changed out. As you can see, they put a brand new belt there. Let's see if we can kind of catch any of the belt. See, look at there. You see that's a little bit of the belt. It's kind of stuck right there in the back of the compressor. We'll take that off for her. But other than that, everything looks pretty good. I don't see any damage on the wires, nothing like that. I don't see anything going right here. So can this just be a coincidence that it just happened at that point? I'm not sure. Who knows what's going on right here? But yeah, she said whenever this happened, that's when it started acting up. All right, on this test right here, all we're gonna do is just have our scope hooked up to our battery. And I just wanna look at a digital side right here. All right, so we're at 12.29 volts. Now I just wanna turn it on, see what we have. Do we have an over? Are we even charging at all, or is it low right here? All right, so it's just kind of going all over the spot right now. And we are at 14 volts. All right, now we're dropping to 12. Okay, this is not looking good. It just keeps on going up and down, up and down. It's kind of everywhere right now. Let's just turn on some loads, because remember my last videos, we just turned on some loads and they actually started working. So right here, we're going a little bit too under. That's way under, but I'm gonna go ahead and turn on some loads right now. We already have the headlights on, so that's one load, but I want to turn on the windshield wipers. But before we do that, we want to take off this. Alright, so we did turn on some loads, and check this out. We're actually under 12 volts. That is not looking good right there. So now that we actually have that right there, that is kind of what the customer was telling me. She said that the lights were flickering inside because guess what? We're not getting the proper voltage going on there, and we put an extra load on here. If you look down here, we already have our lights on, and now we have our windshield wipers on that we can see up here. So this is not looking good on this one. We on the other videos we turned on some loads and it would go up, but right here is staying low right here. So let's go ahead and test this a little bit further, see what we find out. All right, so here's our 3 wires right here. So as you can see right on our connector, we have a gray one and an orange one, and then right here we can see that we have our other wire, and this goes from our alternator to the battery. So on the code that we're looking at, we're checking out this one right here, this which is going to be the L terminal. It's going to be the orange wire, and then we have the F one that's going to be the gray. So what we want to verify, we're going to hook up our scope to this, and we're going to hook it up on linear because we have to set linear voltage, and we got to verify what's going on there. And then after that, we're going to see if our fault is going to be somewhere in this wiring, because remember the actual belt came off, or it's going to be somewhere in the alternator. So let's hook up our scope and let's see what we find out. All right, so we're in the engine compartment right here, and we have our green trace, which is going to be hooked up to our battery, so that's going to show battery voltage. And then we have our yellow trace that's hooked up to our actual alternator, and we're going to see what we get right there from the ECM to the alternator. So let's turn this on, let's see what we show. All right, so right there, as you can see, it went up to 14, then went right back down, and went up. And one thing is, we didn't even hook up this connector. All right, so we see activity there, right there. But it seems like as soon as I hooked that connector, that's when it started actually charging. So let me just show you where I'm at. So I'm back probed right there on the back side. And you can see still no activity, but if I move this wire, look at that, and it starts charging. So let go of it, 12.5, put some, this is awesome. So I let go of it right there, connector's still in there, but we start moving it, and then we start getting the charge. So there you go. We're gonna go ahead and just change out this connector right there, and that should be pretty much it. Because like I said, as soon as we start moving this, that's when it starts getting activity right there. The next day. Alright, so check this out. Still the same activity. Put a brand new connector right here. We're still getting 12 volts, no activity. What's going on right here? But check, we're gonna try this again. We're gonna move this wire right here, and look at that. We let go of it. This is actually gonna be an internal problem in the actual alternator. So we made the call on this connector because, like I said, I would barely move the connector. You see, I would move it and get some movement. But what's actually going on inside the alternator, we have the circuitry right there, and that's what's messing up. So if we go to the next connector right here, our pulse width, look at this. Sorry for the glare, but I'm trying to get y'all right here. So I'm gonna move this, and you see the difference right there? So what's going on, remember how I was explaining this. We have inside our actual alternator is sending out a signal to the ECM, and then the ECM comes back and sends another signal to show how much charging we need and so on. At this moment, this is showing us that we don't need a charge, That's why we see 12 volts right here. But when we put it back how it's supposed to be, that's when the green tray starts going up where it has to charge at. I was thinking the whole time it was the connector. Yes, we spent 20 bucks on this, but geez, this is how automotive comes out to, man. The good thing is that we pinpointed it right here. I know we got a connector, but you know, the end fix is going to be a new alternator. So there you go. Little things that we kind of deal with in the automotive game. And at least we're going to go ahead and change this out. Like I said, we moved this and then we're getting our change. So check this out. So I have this brand new alternator right here, and this is a AC Delco alternator, and look at that, 14.66 volts. Now let's do what we were doing last time. Let's move this connector right here, see what happens. Nothing. Beautiful, still keeping the 14.6 volts. Now what I want to do, I want to move this connector a little bit lower, see how this looks up there, and let's move it around. Look at that. That is complete beautifulness right here. So moral of the story is, we diagnosed this, we went straight right here to where we knew where the issue was at. We're just kind of, was it the connector, was it the alternator? And what you gotta understand, so my thought process was the connector, because I was thinking, well, if the belt flew off, and she said as soon as it happened, as soon as the belt flew off, that's when the issue was happening. And when I moved the connector right there, that's where it's going on. So my thought process is, belt might have hit the connector, messed it up, and as we moved it there, we saw the issue. So that's what I was going by. Good thing is that this connector is only 20 bucks, so do not get discouraged if you do a bad diag right there. The good thing is I was right in the vicinity right there, and luckily when I called the customer, I explained to her and I just told her, hey, we need a brand new alternator. She said okay, slap one on there. But there you go, this is a fix right there. So I'm going to end it off. If you do like this video, please put a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that little notification bell to get out brand new videos coming out from Oz Mechanics. There you go, customer's going to be happy that she has a brand new alternator, AC Delco. Y'all take care. Y'all have a nice day.